Hello, Sunny Souls. Welcome to Fascia Fridays. Today, we're going to be working with the psoas release and Totally Twisted. Totally Twisted is one of the founding maneuvers with Human Garage, and we're going to be going through that today and pairing that up with the gene key of 45. Like we have been talking about this week I'm also dropping articles about this and a podcast that kind of goes into it a little bit deeper, but just a quick overview. The results from last week is I love this series so much. I kept yawning, something shifted. People are really enjoying the introduction to fascia maneuvers. There's a lot of people that aren't even sure what fascia maneuvers are. So I'll be going into more of that in the weeks to come. These are introduction maneuvers. Today we're going to go into a little bit bigger maneuver with Totally Twisted though. So the gene key 45 is the shadow is dominance, the gift is synergy, the city is communion. And so the gene keys, somebody asked me last week, so it is from Richard Rudd, and he has taken the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching, which is an ancient Chinese text, and reframed them as a map of the human consciousness. So the predominant energy this week was gene key 45. So when we look at the shadow of dominance, it is a hierarchy. We're looking at a hierarchy. Somebody's always on top and people are below. And then Richard Rudd is saying that we would shift into a heterarchy where it's more of like everybody shares the load and nobody is above, nobody is below. It's kind of more of a community aspect of looking at where the leadership is. So now we really want to work with this in the body. So the psoas release, this is where it's specific, where the body holds the pattern of hierarchy, the deepest layer of fight or flight. So that's why I chose that maneuver to do with you guys today. The muscle that keeps you on top of the structure braced forward into managing the outcome. When the psoas releases, the body stops organizing around position. The hips soften, the belly lets go, and the whole system gets a new signal. You do not have to hold everything anymore. And Totally Twisted, because it works with counter rotation, and I'll show you guys that today. The upper body and the lower body are moving in opposite directions. And this is the body learning heterarchy. Two forces moving at once, neither one dominating. Together, these two create the physical experience of synergy, which is the gift of the gene key this week. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I wanted to give you a quick overview. I actually wanted to do Totally Twisted first. If you're joining, thank you so much for joining. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments. So we're going to be doing Totally Twisted. You want to be standing with your feet shoulder width apart. And you're going to be crossing your right leg over your left, taking your right hand and crossing it over onto your left shoulder, and your left hand underneath your right armpit. So you're kind of like crossing over like this, right on your left shoulder, left hand underneath. And give yourself a big squeeze. And here we want to be including our spinal pelvic lock. So you're sucking up your sex organs and pulling your belly button towards your spine. We are going to be now moving our head to the right and our body to the left. Okay, and now we're going to be taking our tongue on the inside of our cheek and finding a place that feels tight. And mine's in the lower part. Okay, so your head is turning to the right, body to the left, so you're twisted. That's that counter rotation. And with your tongue in your cheek, we're going to be breathing in 6 times through the nose. And out through the mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now release the tongue and stay in that totally twisted position. We're going to be doing a different breath. You're going to be sucking in through a straw 3 times and then holding it at the top. So it's going to look like this. Breathe in. More. And then twist into that a little bit more. So head over your right and body to the left. And then release. Flat breath. We're going to do that again. In like you're breathing in through a straw. More. More. And then hold. And then twist into that a little bit more. Head to the right. Body to the left. And release. You're doing such a great job. One more time. More. More. Hold. Increase that twist. And letting go. And keeping in that totally twisted. I want you to look over your right shoulder. Find a spot maybe on the floor or the wall. And just keeping that gaze. We're going to be breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth 6 times. Begin. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. Now come back to center, keeping your arms and your legs still crossed over. We're going to go to the other side now, okay? So we're going to put our head to the left and our body to the right. And this time we're going to pick a spot in our left cheek that feels really tight, and then we're going to hold it there while we're doing our breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, okay? So once again, you're staying arms crossed. You're going to do your head to the left and body to the right, putting that tongue into your cheek. We're going to breathe 6 times. Begin. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. Now keeping that twist, holding where you are, we're going to breathe in again through the straw. We're going to breathe in and hold. More. More. And hold. And see if you can twist into that a little bit more. Your body to the right and head to the left. And then exhale. We're going to do that straw breath again. More. More. And twist into that rotation a little bit more. And then exhale. One more time. In through the straw. More. More. Hold. Doing that counter rotation. Twist a little bit more. Body to the right. Head to the left. And exhale. And now you can unwind and come back to center. Whew. Just notice what that feels like. You can, this is the part where you can do the integration, where you can walk in like a figure 8. This is where we integrate that movement. We're like walking it out or walking it in as a pattern. And just notice what you're noticing. And then you can also like reverse that figure 8. I don't think I did that right. And then you can come back. We still need to do the other side, but what you're kind of noticing is the totally twisted maneuver, because of that counter rotation, we're creating pressure in every aspect of our body, in this part of our body, our midsection, and our lower limbs. You could be feeling a release in your neck. You could be feeling a release maybe in your shoulders or hips, maybe even in your knees. My foot feels funny. I felt a lot of pressure in my left foot. So that's kind of things that you want to be noticing. When we do one side of the body and then the other, it gives you a really great chance to notice what has changed. Maybe one side feels lighter, maybe one side feels a little bit different, and then you can kind of take a mental note of what that feels like for when you do the other side. So this part, we're going to be going left over. So taking your left over your right, and your left hand underneath, and your right hand on top. Okay? And you're going to be turning your head to the left and then your body to the right. And so for this, I'll just turn to the side. We're going to be doing this the same sequence. We're going to be finding that spot in your cheek with your tongue, finding that spot that feels tight. And then we're going to be breathing in 6 times through your nose and out through your mouth. Let's begin. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to do that straw breath. Okay, we're going to be sucking in through the straw and then holding and then bringing in more and all the way to the top. Begin. More. More. And hold. And if you'd like, you can twist into this a little bit more where your body's going to the left. Sorry, your head to the left and your body to the right. And then exhaling. We're going to do that again. Breathing in through that straw. More. More. And then holding, just twisting into that a little bit more. If you feel comfortable to do so. Just lost my balance. And exhale. And one more time. In through the straw. More. More. And hold. Twisting into that rotation. And then exhale. And keeping your body and your arms and your legs crossed. There we go. We're going to look now over your left shoulder, picking a spot on the floor or the wall, looking over your left shoulder. We're just going to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth 6 times. Begin. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Coming back to center, keeping your arms and legs crossed. We're going to go back to the other direction now. Okay, so your head to the right, body to the left, finding that spot in your right cheek now where it's tight, and breathing in 6 times through your nose and out through your mouth. Begin. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Great. So now we're going to do that breath in through the straw and then hold and then bringing it in all the way to the top. Okay, so bringing in that breath. More. More. And then hold. And if you feel comfortable to do so, you can twist into that a little bit more. Your head's going to the right, body to the left. And then exhale. One more time for that straw breath. More. More. Turning into that rotation a little bit more if you're comfortable. And then exhaling. Now we want to keep looking over your right shoulder. You can pick a spot on the floor or you can pick a spot on the wall. And keeping your gaze there, we're going to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth 6 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can come back to center. Whew. Now go ahead and go for that walk, for that integration. You can walk back and forth if you want, or you can do the figure 8. Whatever you have room for. Okay, I'm just noticing what that feels like for you now. You might feel a little bit more balanced. You might feel there's more expansion in your chest. Your hips might feel looser. Because with that counter rotation, it's like a garden hose that you're taking and twisting. And then when we release it, it has that expansion again. Okay, so that was totally twisted. I'd love to hear what you guys think of that maneuver and what you noticed in your body. So the next one we're going to be doing is the psoas. So for this one, you just want to like find your belly, where your belly button is, and your hip, the side of your hip, like your hip bone, and find the place in the middle, like meeting it right in the middle. And you can press in. You're not going to be pressing in like with the tips of your fingers, more like the balls of your fingers. You're going to press in. Okay, so we're starting off on the right side. And then I want you to step forward with your left. And you're going to be pulling up. And then leaning back, we're going to breathe 6 times through the mouth. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And coming back to center. When you're pushing in, you're also lifting up, and you can kind of feel that. It'll feel like you're almost like your skin's ripping apart. If you've ever had a snake bite when you were a kid, where you're doing that counter rotation on your arm, and there's that burning sensation, that's kind of what it's going to feel like. So now we're going to go to the left side, finding where your hip bone is, your belly button meeting in the middle. You're going to be pressing in and up, like so, and stepping forward with your right and feeling that. You want to make sure that your hips aren't twisted. You want to make sure that they're square to your stance, and then leaning back, breathing in through your mouth 6 times. Begin. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There we go. Stepping back to center, and go for that walk where you're doing your integration, walking around, doing that figure 8. That feels really good. I spent a lot of time at my desk this week. The psoas will really help open up your hips. If you're having any lower back pain, it will really help release in there. Thank you so much for joining me this week for the series I'm doing for Fascia Fridays. Next week is going to be Gene Key 12, and that's a pure heart. The shadow is vanity, the gift, and the city we will go over. It's to love yourself and to love everyone else as well. It's the gift of a pure heart. We'll go into that. There's going to be an article release and a podcast release for that. And then I would love to hear some more comments and feedback from today's session. I love hearing from you guys and seeing how this is being introduced into your life. And yeah, I will see you next week. Keep on shrinking. Your body knows the way.